United States didn't fight the capable enemy since Vietnam. I mean, beating the, semi-literate, retarded Saddam's army, utterly corrupted, or mighty air forces of Taliban, together with mighty Taliban air defense. So yeah, they got high on their own supply, but reality is that all these ideas which have been instilled in the United States Armed Forces on the ground-wise by the Blitzkrieg generals who wrote essentially doctrines for NATO, all those Nazi and Wehrmacht generals from, Erich von Manstein to, Hauser, to all kinds of them, who were officially employed by the U.S. Army. And so, and there's this doctrine, every 5 or so years, United States Navy, which is glorious Navy with an incredible history, the obviously demonstration of the courage and professionalism. So United States has no reason not to be proud, of its great Navy. But the problem is, again, life changed so much. And those doctrines were either all kinds of the modification of this blitzkrieg and air power, and the experience which they got in the European theater of war, and even in Vietnam, about air power, which is really not real experience in the sense that it doesn't reflect the fight with the nation which is capable, which is large and is ready to fight back. And it's, air, land battle, air, sea battle, and then, of course, from the sea concepts, it's all these amphibious operations. It is all good for third world, pardon my French, crap holes, which has the population and armed forces which cannot shoot back straight. Iran is not the third world, actually. So that's what many people do not understand. It has its massive industrial capacity, and it has the military-industrial complex. It has the fairly competent, basically military. And apart from the fact that if you take a look, obviously now at all majority of the Iranian leadership, and I'm not talking about IRG, I'm talking about even just regular people. They are, many of them, combat veterans. They went through the obviously Iran-Iraq war, and Iraq was supported by whole world, from Soviet Union to United States and Europe. So, and Iran still endured. So, what can I say? I mean, these are people of a completely different intellectual level, different spiritual view of the war. So you look at this, clowns like Kellogg or whatever, those American generals who lost every war they participated in, they don't learn. They don't understand actually what is going on. They don't have evidently this, what is called moral, spiritual, and, intellectual organ. There's a toolkit, as you correctly stated, which allows them to see through, because obviously the United States Army has a brave and courageous and competent people, but anybody will tell you, and you can ask Danny Davis, you can ask Doug McGregor, that essentially once you get to the level of colonel and to the generalship, the only thing you need to know is how to be political, how to, kiss ass, and that's what you do. You are not progressing as the military professional combat leader because nobody needs it. In Washington, D.C., they know nobody wants to attack them, really, okay? So it is the relaxed atmosphere in very many respects. And as a result, whatever the competences United States had in terms of the military technology, doctrine, especially fighting doctrines, it's all obsolete. And again, I wrote 9 years ago the first book, which is called Losing Military Supremacy, where I already stated that 9 years ago. I said it's all fake, basically. It was grossly overestimated, grossly overrepresented. You have Hollywood. You have essentially Hollywood, which is the propaganda machine for the U.S. military. But reality is a table of equipment, organization and equipment, TOE, of the U.S. Armed Forces is simply not designed to fight real war. Simple as that. It's obsolete. It's stuck in the, late 1980s, early 1990s. And now when you see everything what is happening, including what is happening in Israel, which is being pummeled, blown up to smithereens. I just showed the interview, the in the Israeli TV, when the mayor of Margaliot, which was essentially wiped out by Iranian and Hezbollah forces, he basically crying, in the on live TV, because I said, Bibi, send us help. Well, there is no help. That's the problem. They don't understand it, that that's it. And United States have been, together with NATO, have been demilitarized for the last 4 years during special military operation, and suddenly here we are. And they cannot sustain anything. They cannot sustain operation. They cannot get required force, let's say, to fight Iran, to really invade Iran and achieve some kind of the political objective, the scale of the regime change, they remove ayatollahs and things like that. Well, you will need about 2 million people. Can United States furnish this army? No, it can't. And it will be obsolete army anyway.
Yeah. Actually, we had on channel 13 in Hebrew, they have mentioned the chief of staff warned last night in the cabinet that the Israeli army is on the verge of collapsing from within, because he said that the army cannot sustain it, because it's not, Andrei, what is happening right now. Israelis literally are not fighting Iranians anymore. The United States is somehow...
Yeah, they got what they wanted. They're
using the United States as a mercenary against Iran. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, United States doesn't have sovereignty in the foreign policy, and it's controlled by from Tel Aviv. Basically, we can sit here and speculate whatever it is. Obviously, it could be Epstein files, which is used for making, basically killing Trump. He's a political corpse now, and he's the stage of the decomposition. So we can observe probably the catastrophe for GOP, and good riddance. This two-party system is garbage. Actually, it doesn't work, and it's utterly corrupt. And so when you look attentively at those fanatics from the GOP, majority of whom support Israel, what can I say? Well, we'll see it. What midterms will bring, but J.D. Vance may as well forget about his presidency, and the chance on the presidency. And yeah, it's called American political machine simply seized, and that's it. And what can I say? It's over. The United States is, well, first it was self-proclaimed hegemon, so it was, obviously, it had a very good run starting from 1941, when essentially the consequences of the Great Depression have been overcome. United States went within 1941, within 4 months, I believe, from more than 25% unemployment to full employment. Can you imagine this? Well, that's why many of those people love war. They think that it's World War II still. It's not. It's 2026, and things change dramatically, especially technologically. And now when they get pummeled by this, it just, yeah. Again, I read today this New York Times piece. It's like, so U.S. Army now ground forces working remotely. This is, I don't know. I mean, I have no words to describe it, okay?
These are military experts writing these articles, because they have a lot of insight. We have to accept that. They have to understand they know a lot about what's going on within the system.
I don't know. I mean, whoever wrote, I can look it up. I mean, not on this computer, my computer with the subscription of another room. So yeah, I can take a look who wrote these pieces. But yeah, it's you can go and take a look actually at let me. Yeah. It defies belief, and yeah, it just leaves you speechless. And but yeah, Trump is winning tremendously. Yeah, I'll.
Andrei, Axios reported that Pentagon is preparing for massive final blow of Iran war. They're talking about, the ground forces together with large-scale bombing campaign. And we know that the United States so far tried with the air fighter jets, with the Marine all together. Right now, put in 12,000, let's talk about 20,000 soldiers in the Persian Gulf. How is that going to help the United States?
No, it's not going to help the United States. It's going to kill very many American military personnel, and very many. Again, if you read any Army doctrinal publication of the United States, field manuals, especially operations, FM 3-0, everything in there is about, overwhelm the enemy, bring on our long-range fires. Now you have to explain to those people that long-range fires, as it's written and it was basically presented, doesn't work like this anymore, because your enemy also has long-range fires, and very often they are much longer, and United States doesn't have real viable air defense, period. Simple as that. What do they have? I mean, you look attentively at what is Shorad. Oh, you get Stryker or get Humvee, stick on it for Stingers. Oh yeah, we have short. It's not going to work against anything, okay? So, and it might work against some helicopter maybe, and so, but drones are producing very small infrared signature, and so, and same goes, and then what do you have? Oh, the next thing is NASAMS. What is NASAMS? And it's basically Frankenstein of air defense. You take the AIM-120 MRAM, which is used basically, it's the air-to-air missile. You made out of it a Frankenstein, stick it on some platform, get some sensors to this platform, and declare it a viable, air defense complex. It's not. I mean, it fails most of the time. And again, it's just one of them. Patriot is not, we cannot even talk seriously, but we know that now United States demands from Ukraine to return the balance of whatever is left there of Patriots. That tells you everything you need to know. And how they're going to defend their assembly areas, how they're going to defend their strong points, what are they thinking that they can build into their battalion or company columns and attack in the terrain of Iran? I mean, really, I have a bridge to sell to those people. So they don't know what they're going to do. They don't have experience. They don't understand how you can command force, which requires assembly, as I already stated. It's between probably at least 1.5 and 2 million people to get into such country as Iran and achieve some kind of the political objectives there. What will be the casualties? They will be horrendous. Vietnam will look like the stroll in the park compared to this.